guts.
In a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new Slop Meal video. I hope you're having a fantastic day, because I certainly am. A few days ago, if you weren't aware, I released a video called The GeorgeNotFound Situation is Insane, where I went over a clip from maybe about 3 to 4 months ago now of Average Harry, Adam Mcintyre, and a girl called Lexi who was posing in the corner because she knew this would get clipped due to what was being said in said clip, where Average Harry said that GeorgeNotFound should take his own life, and there were some other details within this clip which I spoke about after it had kind of gone viral again on some short form media platforms being used in edits. In the video I spoke about my journey of actually trying to get said clip, going onto the Twitch, asking in the Twitch chat, getting banned in their Twitch chats for simply asking a genuine question, and then when I ultimately found the clip, I made my video all around the following clip.
Not much about him, so I'm gonna ask you in a second.
GeorgeNotFound, kill yourself. I'm not even joking. On a serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were found dead tomorrow.
Serious ting?
Serious thing, I'll be so happy if you were dead tomorrow. I actually hate your guts.
In a sense,
you can talk about anyone else now.
And Saplap's gonna get beaten up by Tubbo.
Okay. I don't know about that. Wilbur, Brighton, Biter. Brighton, Biter. That's
I spoke about that clip, and then I went on to speak about that podcast, the Fireball Friday, as a whole, what Adam Mcintyre was saying about Dream, and what Average Harry and Lexi was doing in the corner. Of course, if you want a full breakdown of that entire podcast, that situation, and the stuff I went over in that previous video, I highly recommend that you go and watch that said video, and then come back to finish watching this one. But I made that video, and I made a tweet to go alongside it, and both of these things got a bit of traction. They picked up a bit of steam. Now, for the most part, the comments on my YouTube video about the situation were in agreement with what I was saying, condemning what Average Harry, Adam Mcintyre were saying, and were in agreement about my thoughts on the GeorgeNotFound situation. Not only that, but people are in agreement what I had to say about Tommy Innit, Tubbo, and all of these other people. There is this real narrative forming on YouTube at the moment where people are waking up to these people's actions, and instead of just consistently blaming GeorgeNotFound and Dream and holding no accountability towards people like Tommy Innit, Tubbo, people like Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre, people are starting to round out more and actually looking at the situation objectively. Because I'm not saying somebody like Dream or GeorgeNotFound don't deserve criticism in any aspect, but when it comes to certain things, of course, people like Tommy and Average Harry and these other content creators are going to get criticism, because that's only fair. And while this sentiment had kind of carried over onto platforms like Twitter, with some people being in agreement with my video and those tweets getting thousands of likes, for the most part, my video and my tweet kind of landed in the GeorgeNotFound is 100% a sexual assaulter camp. I just genuinely couldn't resist the urge to follow up on this and talk about some of these posts because they're genuinely hilarious. But not only that, we've also got a response from Lexi. Now, if you don't know who Lexi is, Lexi was the person who was kind of aura farming, clip farming, posing in the corner of the video whilst Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre were going off on people like Dream, Wilbur, Sir, GeorgeNotFound, because she knew that a lot of it would get clipped up and she wanted to look her best, which you're going to realize that's quite a big theme of a lot of these posts, which I don't think people get that we understand that, but it's still fucking hilarious, just not in the way that she intended it to. If one of my closest friends got SA'd and I had to be there to watch them fall apart mentally, I want their abuser to end themselves too. Average Harry is valid here, I don't care. Highlight the word if here, because we're still talking about if in relation to GeorgeNotFound. Where is Katie Bugs? We don't know, because she lied several times, got caught out in her lies, kind of broke down and then ran away. The real split of like 75% of the people that just genuinely do not believe the large majority of the stuff about GeorgeNotFound, and then you've got that fraction of people, especially on platforms like Twitter and Reddit, who genuinely believe that GeorgeNotFound did these things and will just dismiss anything that has come out to contradict that. Average Harry is literally average, because this is the average reaction, or should be. I agree with it. Literally do. Don't see how people don't understand this. They bullied an assault victim off the internet because they couldn't remember exact details. Most assault victims can't, that's a normal thing, F off. People won't remember every single significant detail or just detail in a general situation, and that's fair, and lots of people will be lenient on them. 95% of people will be lenient on that fact. However, there are several videos on the internet that show where Katie Bugs maliciously lied, twisted things, framed things in a negative light, was incredibly disingenuous, or just straight up lied. Not just talking about she couldn't remember a few things here, that would be genuinely ridiculous. Telling him to KHS is way too far, especially considering the allegations are flimsy at best, considering how many lies she got caught up in and how many times the story changed. I understand supporting your close friend even if it clearly looks like they're lying, but that's far. Gen Z is trying to cancel Average Harry for telling a misogynistic sex offender to end himself. I mean, last time I checked, GeorgeNotFound was not convicted whatsoever of any offense, and last time I checked, Katie Bugs got caught up in several lies and ran away. So yeah, I appreciate that one. Also, like when people are writing these tweets, they're saying horrible things like this guy's offender, but we've got to make it worse because that's not bad enough. We've got to say he's misogynistic as well. We've got to get a few keywords in there. Genuinely, don't piss me off, you people. Dream Team supporters are actually under spells because there's no way a sane person would try to defend this shit. And if you wanted to cancel Harry, he has done so much worse. Like, genuinely, the shit he says and does is fucking crazy. Like, you would have had a field day with him if he was popular in 2021. That's another thing I've noticed as well when critiquing people like Tommy in it, Average Harry, Tubbo, or any person that isn't like Dream or GeorgeNotFound, is that they would just label you a Dream Team supporter or a Dream Team fan or a Dream person if you don't agree with their narratives, like that's meant to offend me or something. The large majority of people, and if you look in the comments of my video, and the majority of people speaking on this, have actively spoken out against things that Dream has done, criticized Dream actively. I'm somebody who has criticized Dream quite a lot, not only on my other social media platforms, but also on this platform. But I'm also going to critique people like Average Harry, Tommy Innit, Adam Mcintyre, and anybody else who I think is critique worthy. Literally, I think a lot of people are unwilling to accept the fact that George essayed her because a lot of commentary YouTube channels have claimed it's debunked. Hello there, and let's just oversimplify that and be incredibly disingenuous. I've seen some people in their late 20s defending it too. I was arguing with a 28-year-old about it. Said something along the lines of, acting like this at your big age, and here comes the criminal defense squad, I'd get watching Hermitcraft or Lifesteal, but Dream? It's not a matter of let people enjoy things, it's a matter of someone enjoying content made by a bad person. I'm not supporting the Brighton Biter anymore. Some of these posts are genuinely hilarious, and you've got to wonder if they were actually posting these with a serious face. Maybe a tear rolling down their eye as they censor the word Dream. Also, the critically acclaimed person Midas also weighed in saying, what a beast. Oh look, it's Midas. Do you remember that time when he boosted the Skeppy allegations publicly, you know, made it a big deal, got over 120,000 likes platforming these said allegations, then when they all retracted their statements, he waited a little bit and then silently deleted his post, didn't make any clarification post saying that they'd been retracted or not, you know, that Midas. Because I too would weigh in a situation like GeorgeNotFound if I had platformed allegations with no proper evidence, if I had no idea if they were true or not, acted like they were true, then silently deleted my posts once they'd been retracted because I was getting a little bit of pushback, and then made no clarification post or update post about what had happened in that situation, and just let the vast majority of people that liked that post and saw your tweets genuinely believe that Skeppy had done those things. But everybody, you're right. I think we should be criticising Dream, not those type of people. If I told anyone about my experience and they didn't come out with the he needs to end himself mentality, then I would start rethinking our friendship. Like, Average Harry is more than valid in this scenario. Leave it to a GeorgeNotFound fan to have a man telling their fave to die in a clip and they still somehow find a way to hate on the woman sitting beside him? This is very clearly a subtweet of me and my video I made on the whole situation. Now, if this person wasn't being incredibly disingenuous and framing it in a incredibly disingenuous light, you would know, of course, that I sat there, heavily critiqued Average Harry, mainly focused on what Adam Mcintyre was saying, and then had a little side joke about the fact that Lexi was posing the entire clip because she knew that would get clipped up, and it was pretty funny because she was snapping in and out like an NPC. But we're going to frame it in an incredibly disingenuous light, not mention any of that, and just say that I was mainly focusing on Lexi because she's a woman, and try and frame it in an incredibly misogynistic light because GeorgeNotFound's involved, and that's what fits your narrative as a quote-unquote GeorgeNotFound fan. It is genuinely shocking how GeorgeNotFound fans are so effing misogynistic. They will stop at no end to harass women for simply effing existing. I don't know shit about Lexi, but the fact that I've seen her made fun of and mocked for just effing sitting there is insane. I hate GeorgeNotFound fans. Well, it's a good thing that I'm not a GeorgeNotFound fan then, because I would hate that you would hate me, and I know as well that it's a hard concept to understand that I wouldn't just be criticising GeorgeNotFound in this situation, or that it's an impossible concept to understand that I would just be simply making a joke about the person who was sitting there like an NPC posing because she knew what the people were saying around her would get clipped up and she wanted to look her best. This one's my favourite one, bro. It actually makes me so annoyed that the guy was like making them seem bad by pointing out everything they do. Like Tubbo saying yes. Like, dude, how does that contribute to the video? This is referring to the part of the video when I was talking about Tommy and it weaponizing the false allegations against GeorgeNotFound to go against Dream in the whole Tommy and it Dream situation from the beginning of the year. And I just made a light joke about Tubbo really adding to the situation by sitting there and just saying the word yes when he was reacting. This was the segment.
And behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
I find even funnier than that clip in question is the one where Tubbo reacts to it and he just sits there, just says yeah.
Believe how the George stuff from a year ago went down. I cannot believe the response to it online. It's disgusting. It's sexist, man. And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, that was probably the most egregious thing I said in that entire video. Then, ladies and gentlemen, Lexi actually responded to a lot of the online dialogue going on about her posing there, sitting there, you know, because she knew she was going to get clipped. Never jokingly acting like a bimbo again, that shit is not worth it. Flattered people think I was a bully, though considering I ate my lunch under the stairs and got bullied so bad I had to change classes as a kid. Smiley face, but that's me logging off the internet. If people have like a genuinely never-ending victim complex, great, you got bullied as a kid, great, that's amazing for you. Do you want a cookie? I mean, not that it's really relevant anyway, because I'm really seeing many people outside of talking about her posing in the clip actually call her a bully, but if you were bullied as a kid, you can then bully somebody when you're older or say something mean. That is something that can happen. That's logic. Like, why do we care that you got bullied? That doesn't mean you can't be a bully. Like, what? Not that that has any actual effect on the situation whatsoever, or that was a thing that people would genuinely say. It was more the fact that she was posing because she knew that she would get clipped. It was pretty funny how she would have an opinion, then snap straight back into NPC mode. It was pretty funny. Some people took a step further and said that, you know, it's funny that she's sitting there doing all that whilst her friend is saying that they wish that someone would take their own life. You know, that's the extent of the criticism towards her. People were just making fun of whatever she was doing, and that's something that they can do. Last post to go over. Can't say I'm surprised that these people saw a clip of two men talking shit and one woman quite literally just sitting there looking gorgeous, and they were most offended by the woman. Lexi could have literally just left the room and someone would have called her an attention seeker. Her sitting there posing, trying to look as best as she can 24/7 in that clip because she knew it would get clipped anytime someone was talking about like Dream or GeorgeNotFound. Yeah, that is attention seeking. And I mean, the vast majority of people made a joke about that, but their main focus was on Average Harry and Adam Mcintyre for the large majority of that podcast and the clips that were going around. But of course, people are going to focus on something that's incredibly bizarre, like somebody sitting there in the corner, posing, saying something, snapping back like an NPC, and continuously posing. That's something that's funny, that's something people are going to point out. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman whatsoever. When I saw these posts, especially Lexi's one, where she's talking about being bullied as a child, as some sympathy baiting cope mechanism, and how she's wording stuff, was genuinely hilarious. I could not pass up on the opportunity to talk about these. The tweets from people that genuinely hate, despise GeorgeNotFound, and are being disingenuous as hell, I could not pass up on the opportunity to talk about this in a video. It is absolutely hilarious. That's that time of the video where I close off and ask you to please feel free to leave your comments down below. What's your thoughts on all of this? Please feel free to leave that down below, and once you're done that, you want to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm so glad I got to make this video. I appreciate all the support on that GeorgeNotFound video and the reactions that all of those people gave that have ultimately ended up in this video. Thank you for that. Thank you for the video. Thank you for paying my rent this month, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video. Goodbye. Now, as I was rendering this video and about to post it, I also came across a few posts from Adam Mcintyre responding to some people making fun of them for the comments they made about Dream in that podcast that we spoke about. They put, whatever that is, we have got to be serious, guys. Well, it's just a bizarre and funny response to have to this, and I had to include it in this video. There was literally no way I was letting this video go out with not mentioning that whatsoever in any capacity. I had to mention that. So yeah, now the end of the video is here. Yeah, you can go now.